Ex-wife had an affair with my best friend, now she shows up begging for help because he's drowning in debt. I, 34 male, got divorced from my wife, 31 female, 4 years ago. We were married for 3 years. I wish I could say it was an amicable divorce, but the truth is kinda depressing to be honest. At the time of our divorce, I was in between jobs. I had been working in sales at a company for 6 years before it went under and I got laid off. I don't have a fancy education and it was difficult to find a decent job for a very long time. My best friend at the time, on the other hand, was an investment banker. He had a really flashy lifestyle. Drove around in a really expensive car, and wore the best suits and watches. You get the picture. We have known each other since high school. It would be wrong to say that I was never jealous of his success, but I've always wished him nothing but the best. He was the best man at my wedding too. Funny how life can surprise you sometimes. So obviously, my wife knew my best friend. They weren't super close, or so I thought, but they met while my wife and I were still dating and always went along pretty well. I never even suspected anything between them, but now I wonder if I was being stupid and ignoring obvious signs. After I was fired from my job, I sort of went into a dark phase. I was depressed and didn't know what to do with my life. I guess this was pretty difficult for my wife too because she was absolutely thriving in her career as an editor at a big publishing house. I didn't know when her frustration at my depression and unsuccessful career turned into pure resentment. A year after I lost my job, she came to me and said that she can't be with me anymore because she wanted someone who's successful and can give her the life she dreams of. I was absolutely devastated. I begged her to stay, but she had apparently made up my mind. First thing I did after she left? Call my best friend for some much needed support. He didn't pick up. I texted him to get back to me because it's urgent, but he never did. I waited for a couple of days and when there was still no response, I tried calling him again. No one picked up. I even showed up at his apartment but the guard at his building told me he hadn't been home for a few days. Worried about his safety, I called up a mutual friend of ours. Nothing could have prepared me for what I found out after that one phone call. I called my friend and even before I could say anything, he asked how I'm holding up. This was surprising because I hadn't really told anyone about my broken marriage, so I assumed he was asking about the job situation. I said I'm still looking for a proper opportunity. My friend then said he meant how I'm holding up about my best friend doing what he did. Confused as hell, I told him not getting a hold of him was why I was calling in the first place. That's when my friend realized that I had no clue about what's going on. He told me to check my wife's Facebook. I did and saw that she had posted vacation pictures at some beach. Guess who was in one of the pictures being very intimate with her? That's right. The man I thought was my best friend. The man I treated as a brother. You can probably imagine what I went through after that. But devastated would be a good way of describing it. It took me a long time to recover, but I'm proud of my journey. I have a great new job as a product developer. The money is great and I'm happy in my personal life as well. I met an amazing woman last year and I'm planning to propose to her very, very soon. I've had zero contact with my ex-wife after our divorce. Same goes for my former best friend. I've even avoided mutual friends just because I don't want anything at all to do with those two. So, imagine my surprise when my ex-wife showed up at my work out of nowhere last weekend. The receptionist came and told me there's a woman wanting to meet me urgently and I asked for her to be sent in because obviously I was curious and how could I have ever imagined that she would walk through the door anyway. But there she was. Looking very different than I remembered her. So different in fact, that it took me a few moments to recognize her. When I did though, I asked her what the hell she was doing in my office. She begged me to hear her out and that she really needs help. She sounded so desperate that I just couldn't kick her out. She sat down and told me that she needed to leave my former best friend. I didn't even have to ask why, neither did I care. She told me that he was in massive debt and it was getting difficult to even make ends meet. He had hidden this for the longest time and was apparently stealing from their joint account. Not just that, he had borrowed quite some money from her under some pretext or the other and was saying he had no way of paying it back in the near future. They had to move out of their fancy apartment and he even sold his car. But there was just too much debt and he had started depending on her for all day-to-day expenses. The elaborate, luxurious lifestyle that he had when their affair started? It was nothing but a well-constructed, elaborate lie. To make things worse, he was apparently really controlling. From selecting what she wears and trying to control her weight, he had apparently made her life hell. He even made her quit her job because he wanted a stay-at-home trophy wife and didn't want a career-driven woman. To that, I say you reap what you sow. My ex-wife really thought that after all this time I was still heartbroken over her. What she doesn't know is that I've taken this time to work on myself and heal from whatever has happened. I've met a great woman and although we haven't discussed something yet, I do see a future with her. I told my ex that I couldn't care less about what had happened to her and asked her to get out of my office. She started crying and saying that I should help her out for old time's sake. I again asked her to leave before I call security. She ran out of my office in tears. I've been getting some weird looks from my coworkers, and my boss dropped by and in the most polite way possible asked me to not bring in personal issues into the workplace. I apologized and everything is fine now. After she left, my ex dropped a dramatic long paragraph about how I'm being heartless. So, am I the a-hole for not helping her out? Update 1. Some of you told me that I needed to tell my girlfriend about what happened. Initially, I thought that wasn't a good idea because there's absolutely nothing going on and I don't plan on ever talking to my ex again, but after some thinking, I decided that she deserves to know. I told her and she was uncomfortable at first, but I assured her that even the thought of ever getting involved with her again was my worst nightmare. She believed me and we had a laugh about how karma always gets you in the end. So thanks, kind Redditors, for showing me the right path. Update 2. My ex showed up at my door. This is just unbelievable. So my girlfriend and I live together, but my ex obviously has no way of knowing that. We were just sitting at home wondering what to have for dinner when the doorbell rang. We weren't expecting anyone and my girlfriend was just wearing an old shirt of mine, so she went to our bedroom to change into something more presentable and I went to get the door. I opened the door to see my ex standing there with a suitcase. I quickly connected the dots, realizing she must have left and thought I'd take her in. There was obviously no way in hell that was about to happen though. I asked her what she thinks she's doing and she told me she just needed a place to stay. Before she could say anything, my girlfriend came up behind me to see who was at the door. That was the first time the two of them had ever seen each other, but my girlfriend had seen my ex in some old family pictures and recognized her instantly. Being the amazingly sensible person she was, she didn't say anything. Wish I could say the same about my ex though, because the minute she saw my girlfriend she freaked out. She asked me who that was and what she was doing in her house. First of all, that was my apartment. My ex had very happily left it 4 years ago. I told her that's my girlfriend. She freaked out even more and called my girlfriend a homewrecker. That was enough for me. I told my ex she's delusional if she thought I would ever care for her and that she doesn't deserve to say a single word to my girlfriend. Before she could say anything more, I slammed the door in her face. Crazy woman. I apologized to my girlfriend for this drama and texted my ex to never reach out to me again before blocking her number. Update 3. It's been 6 months since my last update. I had completely forgotten about this post. Don't know if anyone will still read it, but I was certainly amused by what I found and thought some of you might enjoy it as well. After showing up at my apartment that night, my ex didn't reach out again. I mean, maybe she did, who knows, but she was blocked and still is. Anyway, I was scrolling through social media today and suddenly came across a picture posted by an old friend. The funny thing about that picture though was that my ex and former best friend were in it, arms around each other. I thought it was an old picture, but in the caption, my friend had thanked everyone for coming out to celebrate his birthday. I did some digging around and sure enough, my ex is now back that guy again. Talk about problematic behavior, am I right? My 26 female grandparents have 3 children, my dad, my aunt, and my uncle. I have 1 sister, and my aunt and uncle do not have any children. However, my uncle got married about 3 years ago, and his wife, Mary, has 3 kids. Her kids have barely made an effort to be a part of my uncle's life, although he does see them from time to time because they have a good relationship with their mother. They have made even less of an attempt with the rest of us. I've never even met them. My grandparents have tried to get to know them but with little luck. My grandparents bought a fairly nice house when I was a baby. I was unaware until a few weeks ago, but it seems that their plan was always to sell the house whenever they got ready to move and split the money among their grandchildren. I guess my dad and his siblings will get whatever is left in their will, so this is how they wanted to set up their grandchildren. They've saved a good amount of money for themselves, and now they're moving into a retirement community. They sold the house, and my sister and I are each getting about $250,000. This is really useful for me and my husband. We've been looking to get a bigger house because we're about to have a second kid, so it will allow us to put a sizable down payment on that, and still have a lot to go into savings. My sister plans to pay off her student loans and then put most of it in savings as well. We're really grateful obviously to our grandparents because we both really feel like this will set us up well for the future. My uncle called me yesterday and said that Mary is very upset because her children were not included. She says that they are my grandparents' grandchildren now too and deserve a cut. My grandparents have basically said it's up to us if we want to share, but that they left it to us for a reason. I'm torn because we had plans for that money. If they had made any effort at all to be grandchildren to my grandparents, I wouldn't hesitate, But they didn't even meet my grandparents until they were in their late teens/early 20s, and they have made little effort since. Will I be the a-hole if I didn't share? My 20 female mom hates my brother, B, 15. This is because she wants 2 girls and not a boy. For context, parents are divorced. Mom remarried, dad still single. My mom always showers me with love but did the opposite with B. She would tell B to get out of the house whenever she comes to visit or make him run errands on her behalf. My dad and I always tells her that this isn't B's fault, at the very least she should acknowledge him. On his birthday, we planned SMTH for B and no, we don't intend to invite mom because we know she is going to ruin it anyways. We tried to be discreet about it but my grandma told her, saying no matter what she's still B's mom. Surprise, she actually ruined it. When it's time for B to cut the cake, mom butted in and announced she's pregnant. At that point I was fuming, everyone congratulated her and basically forgot it's B's birthday. I screamed at my mom, telling her she's so effing immature for announcing her pregnancy at her son's birthday. I went off and told her that if she continues being this way, I'm going to cut ties with her, although I appreciate all she's done but B is her son. I'm so sick and tired of her treating B like he's a nobody, and because of this, B always felt like he is at fault. Anyways, dad chased everyone out. I apologized to B for ruining his B-day but he told me he's happy I stood up for him. He cut a cake for me and we just went on with the party with some of his friends. Mom, stepdad, relatives and everyone who knew has been calling/messaging us nonstop telling me that I'm an a-hole for disrespecting my mom and that I will regret it. My dad, on the other hand, uploaded it on Facebook and told everyone he doesn't care. Mom should have seen it coming, lol. Update, thank you everyone, my dad and I just got back from the police station. Apparently, my mom reported about getting harassed from my dad's side of the family, so he's been given a warning and the video has been removed, though I believe every one of our family has seen it, which is why they are all quiet. She also reported about my brother threatening her when all he did was text her not to bother us again and that she should stop guilt-tripping me. I have a soft heart. I asked him if he wants to go for therapy but he said no because he feels safe with us around. As for our grandma, unfortunately, we can't cut her off because she's from our dad's side. My brother adores her and he explained to her how he has been feeling. As of today, I've completely cut contact with my mom and her side of the family. She's been going crazy and I'm just afraid she will come to our house and make a ruckus. Her husband is no different either, they share the same only girls mentality, disgusting. Right now I can only hope their upcoming baby will be a girl. As much as I want karma for her, if she were to have another boy, she might just throw him away. Almost happened to brother but dad stopped her, which is the reason for their divorce. Dad and mom got split custody of me but my brother is fully in dad's custody. I am now going to bawl my eyeballs out because my brother just gave me a hug and tells me I'm the best sister ever. Goodbye.